Yeah, well, let me get into that, because if you have a morbid obese patient, clearly that has to do with the diet. I mean, there's no getting around it. And whose fault it is, you can point fingers one way or the other. But the bottom line is the food is causing the problem. And the typical answer is, let's put you on a very low calorie diet, 800 calories, maybe shakes or something like that. You starve them, and sometimes that works, but it's pretty miserable. So how is it working that they're eating to satiety, I guess, maybe, and losing weight? Are you seeing that?
The thing is that you have to think about something that's can go on indefinitely, right? A diet you can sustain,
right? Not
this starvation thing. And so basically, to eat to satiety, you're talking about meat. I observe, it's so funny, when I sit down and eat meat, it's like I said, it's like the only thing that gives perfect satiety. But if I were to just start eating other stuff, when does that end? Eating a adequate protein and fat diet, these people can do that the rest of their lives. And we see that. I listen to testimonials quite a bit from your interviews just to keep me going, because there's so much negativity in medicine these days. Because I do have to cope with the sickness that's happened through COVID, both the increased metabolic syndrome. So that's the objective, the hockey sticking of BMIs in kids, and the gestational diabetes, all that misery. And then you have the weird thinking that people have, magical thinking now. I don't know if you know what it's like to be in a medical system now. 3 years ago, I could say a guideline's a bunk, and people would say, tell me more. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're right. Can't say that now. Well, maybe you can in Montana, but
well, you can't say that. You can't say that in California, it seems like.
Oh no, and that's the irony of. So anyway, there's just so much trouble in Montana, and we have all the mental health issues. I saw something flash up on the screen, Indian. That's one of the things that's a pet peeve I want to address, is that I've said to patients, how on earth did fry bread become your soul food? When you look at fry bread, you should just think of how terribly your ancestors were treated. Mm-hmm. And when you see fry bread, you should want to just, throw it away. And then say, and when you see red meat, you should say, that's my soul food.
Yeah, for sure.
Can't say if I got anywhere per se on that, other than I know it would solve a lot of the mental health issues on the reservation. And I think other docs have talked about that. So, I'm not the first one to say it's partly food, man.
I spent several years in Gallup, New Mexico, moonlighting out there, and I would take care of a lot of people then from a lot of the Navajo Nation there. And same issue. They were just eating the fry bread and eating the crap that they were forced on. If we go back 150 years, they go from Plains Indians eating, a red meat buffalo bison-based diet to stuck on a reservation, and here's your flour. Eat all of this flour and cheap stuff, and then that just decimated their population. And of course, the alcohol on top of that. So it is a real shame to see what was once a very proud, physically capable, imposing community turned into a lot of people with diabetes. I remember it was almost shocking to me to get a Native American patient that was not diabetic. They had such high diabetes, and I would see them as an orthopedic patient. Every one of them, they come with a broken this or that, and they all were diabetics. And I was like, this is insane how frequent it is. And so, yeah, it's kind of crazy to see that.